I think it's just going to get weirder and weirder and weirder, and finally it's going to be so weird that people are going to have to talk about how weird it is. Eventually people are going to say, what the hell is going on? It's not enough to say it's nuts. You have to explain why it's so nuts. The invention of artificial life, the cloning of human beings, possible contact with extraterrestrials, the systems which are in place to keep the world sane are utterly inadequate to the forces that have been unleashed.
Welcome back to Forbidden Knowledge News. I'm your host, Chris Matthew. Today my guest is General Shinobi. Be sure and check out my films. Doors of Perception is on Amazon Prime. Occult Louisiana is on Tubi, Roku, Apple, and many more. We are booking guests for January. If you have suggestions or you'd like to be a guest, email me forbiddenknowledgenews@gmail.com. Visit our website, forbiddenknowledge.news. It is also the home of the Forbidden Knowledge Network. We feature some of your favorite podcasts and content creators. Today, I want to welcome back to the show General Shinobi. He is a writer and content creator under the name Systematic Zoo. General Shinobi, welcome back. How you doing?
Hey, Chris. Yeah, very well, thank you.
Thanks for coming back on. Today, we're going to continue with presenting some of your research and get some insights into the hidden nature of this strange realm. You focus heavily on etymology, symbology, astrology, as well as various ancient occult teachings. You sent me a huge list of talking points. Unfortunately, it would take many episodes to get through them all, but we're going to cover as many as possible, some that you would consider to be the most pertinent topics. Before we get into any of this, briefly remind the audience about yourself and let them know how they can find out more.
Yeah, so my name is Toby Hawkes. I'm from the UK. I go by General Shinobi. And my YouTube and Instagram are Systematic Zoo. So those are the best places to reach me. If you want to know any more, or if you've got ideas for me to make a video and sort of hone in on any particular topic more, just let me know and I'll be happy to do that, because there's so much info, like you said, it's difficult to hone in on one specific thing. So any points of interest, let me know. And yeah, my name, General Shinobi, general just because I have a general knowledge of lots of different things. And the Shinobi because I vibe with the ninja, because they're the underdog. So yeah, I mean, I did send you quite a few notes. Obviously, there was just like some, but yeah, if you'll have me back, then obviously future dates we can just get through the other points. More than happy to come on. Plenty of other times in the future.
Definitely, man.
So yeah.
Well, because there is so much to get to, as I was telling you before, I saw a talking point that seemed very interesting, how there may be entities that are attempting to cheat ascension by latching onto humans. Where do you think would be a good starting point to get us there?
So I've got a couple of images to share. So what I'll do is I'll share that up on the screen now. There we go. So there's one I made earlier. So this framework of the 3, 6, and 9 has really helped me understand and kind of contain the chaos, which is the infinite potential and spectrum of things. So I heard a quote from Tesla saying, if you want to understand the universe, think of 3, 6, and 9. And I haven't really delved too deep into what he meant by that. And this is what I mean by I just have a general gist of stuff. I hear something, I vibe with it, and I go with it with intuition. I don't necessarily look into exactly what it means. I did notice that the center of the Enneagram has a 3, 6, and 9, which makes a pyramid. So I've just kind of used shape, and it's brought up a lot of things for me. So for example, the number 3, which is C, it's the third letter is C, which is to see patterns. and pater in Latin means
Now, let
father.
me ask you,
And
how
the
did you
red,
correlate those specific numbers with the angles of the pyramid?
um, so I just took the center of the
Mm.
Enneagram. So the 3, 6, and 9 makes a pyramid.
Okay.
If that makes sense. So that's where I got the pyramid
Okay.
from.
Gotcha.
And yeah, the three is I've got this rhyme sort of pitter patter, mutter matter. One's the father and the other is the mother. So pitter in Sanskrit means father, and patter in Sanskrit means father. So pitter patter comes down like rain, like light comes down or in, and that's to see patterns is that's the logos, the pattern of things is the
Mm.
light. And then the red light spectrum is the furthest light spectrum we can see, which is further away from us, like kind of the electric. And then the matter is more kind of the magnetic, which is more inward. And then the mutta matter or the maya matter. Maya means illusion or magic. Even the word illusion, you can play around with that. So an illusion can be an ill use of ion, or it can be I'll use ion. So this is the paradox of the illusion of the Maya, of the matter, the matrix. We can either use our energy, or we can use our energy well, or we can use it badly. So I'll use ion, or there's an ill use of ion. So the C is to see patterns, which is a 3, and then the 6 is an F, which is frequency, which will be the matter in which we're in. And the number 9 is the I. And the pyramid with the I on top is on the dollar
Yeah.
bill. And I think this is significant. So on the dollar bill, you have the capstone at the top, which has been removed from the pyramid in Giza. Um, there's the ninth planet is Pluto, which has been removed from, it's not a planet anymore, it's just a dwarf planet. And also our third eye seems to have been removed or cast out or covered up.
Mm.
So the way I view this as is the red is the fire, is the father, and then the blue is the water, is the mother. And the central point, the 9, the eye, the observer, is the child or the seed. And this is kind of vortex energy because things come into existence through a vortex, like through water or fire or air, which are the 3 mother letters in Hebrew, Mem, Shem, no, Mem, Shin, and Aleph. And I think that's very significant. So down here below them, the number 3 relates to zinc because zinc's atomic number is 30. And if you've got low sperm count, for example, you're low in zinc. So having zinc really helps with sperm count. And why this is interesting is because I just view it as the light comes in, the sperm comes into the womb, the light comes into the matter, So it comes from that side to this side, and then you get the child. So, and then also I found out earlier today when I was just seeing what I could do with the 6 is that the 60th atomic number is neodymium, which is silver, and it creates magnets, which is interesting because magnet is related to water, to the mother, to matter.
So what you're basically
So
doing is breaking down our currency using etymology and numerology and symbology and displaying the unseen energies that are embedded in the currency.
yeah, so the currency. So, for example, I'll switch to this because I heard a guest of yours. I can't remember his name, but he mentioned God being in God we trust on the dollar bill
Mm.
being gold, oil, and
Mhm.
drugs. And I was like, wow, that's
Yeah, yeah.
interesting. So the oil we use it for energy. And then drugs are to do with more the body. They affect our body. They weaken our bodies. And then the gold would be the eye, the observer in the middle, the capstone, our third eye, our seed, the gold within, so that works with this as
Now, I
well.
just want to let the
And
audience know it's probably better to correlate
so
this information
yeah.
if you go to the video end. We are back on YouTube and it is on Rumble. So if you're listening on the audio and you want to have visuals to better understand what we're discussing here, please go to the video side.
Right, yeah, I forgot that a lot of people will be listening to
No, it's
just
all good.
audio. I should have explained the image a bit better. So in Egypt, they have in Egypt mysticism, they have different parts of our essence, which is the Ka, the Ba, and the Ark. So the Ka, is the vital essence or life force, which is more of the fire and air, the spirit, it's called. And then the Ba is the more of the soul. It's the human-headed bird. It's what's visualized as a human-headed bird on hieroglyphs. But it's the part of us which travels to the astral realms, like when we're dreaming. It's the part of us, I believe, which goes past the firmament, which firmament just means solid mind. So it's a part of us which dreams, which goes beyond the dreaming, beyond the barriers. And then the arc, AKH, is the arc is the sort of central point. It's the pin to the spin. And it also means eye in Sanskrit, I believe. So there you have the eye being the central point or on top of the pyramid, or I view it more as the seed, like the seed which is buried in the dark, like our pineal. And for a seed to grow, it needs light, fire, and water. It needs both. And the water and light is memory. Mem is water, and Ori is light. So memory is both light and water. So our seed, our pineal, our third eye, the middle way, needs memory, both water and light, to grow into a tree. And a tree is obviously three. So that is the Trinity, the mother, father, child, the fire, the water, and then I guess the plasma in between, the energy frequency and then the vibration.
So what you're describing is the natural energetic order, and what they've done with our currency is inverted and made it something that is negative or toxic for us.
Well, so in the middle of this image, I've drawn a dollar sign because that is half the caduceus. So the caduceus is vortex energy. You have the pin, and then you have the water and the fire. But what the dollar bill has is it just has one snake. It just has one. There's no vortex energy in that. And I think that's quite interesting. Also, dollars green. Green's associated with envy or illusion. We have green screens as well. So money is 100% an illusion. When we were trading gold and things like that, it was real currency. We were giving real energy to each other. Whereas now heading towards digital and then people just printing money and stuff, it's kind of, it is an illusion. It's a green screen. And what's interesting on the dollar bill is it has the capstone of the eye on it, which represents our third eye, or the observer, or our consciousness, which creates reality. We bring things into this realm from dreaming, from imagination, and that's what this war is all about. It's a war on imagination and our intuition. And with currency, obviously, it's related to both water and gold, because gold has an electric current and water has a current too. This is why there's gold in the banks. And then the water and gold are kind of very, very similar kind of energies. And on the dollar bill, there are 13 bricks, 13 steps. which might relate to 13 families, but I just view it as the number 13, which is memory, ori, light and water. That's what you need to grow. And the money tree is very, very real because it's just one energy. Our one energy is what I call dragon energy, which is vortex energy, which is a balance of the divine masculine, the divine feminine. So the divine feminine would be the bow, the container, the holder, the vessel, the womb, and then the masculine would be the arrow, which would be kind of the flame or the driver. And so you have a bow, you have an arrow, and then you need to have your sight. You need a target, which is your third eye. You need to have an orientation, and people have become very disorientated. There's attacks everywhere on the feminine, what it is to be a woman, and also what it is to be a man as well. They play with our emotions. People getting really angry, people having way too much kind of like dark empathy, taking things too far, sort of like kind of cult-like behaviors we've seen as well. So yeah.
So I'm going to stop your screen share for a moment.
Sure.
While you were talking, it made me think of whenever I was going to graphic design school and the importance that was placed on logos and specific ways of laying out the design, specific symbols that you would use that would quote-unquote work for the audience or draw people in. Knowing what I know now about the use of certain symbols and color and even esoteric imagery within different business logos, corporate logos, types of advertising, it makes sense why they would use specific schemes and images that have been used throughout history that hold very powerful occult or esoteric value. But I find it very interesting, the power of some of these symbols that can bring this very powerful energy.
Yeah, 100%. They managed to tap into our subconscious mind, these logos and symbols and stuff. See colors like red, more likely to make you hungry. That's why lots of like fast food companies have the color red. I mean, that's very basic, like animal instincts, the root chakra, hunger, and yeah, the symbols that we see, like symbols that we hit, they both emit frequencies. So we only see a little bit of the color spectrum, like there's waves everywhere, and symbols or sigils are very powerful. But about 90% of car brands here in the UK have Saturn in their logos of some way. Like BMW is the timer. Nissan, I don't know if you have that there, looks like Saturn. So symbols are very powerful frequencies, but a lot of people aren't. They don't really know what symbols mean, and I think to be symbolic, to be literate in symbology, I think is very key to understanding reality because they're everywhere. Yeah, and with the subconscious as well, I just mentioned that what they do with tapping into our subconscious, because people have been disconnected from that part of our psyche. That's the backstage. That's the veil. So as the veil in the world starts to get thinner, so does the veil to our subconscious mind, which is a good thing. But there can be lots of barriers to overcome, like traumas and stuff, and doors to cross over. That's why keys help. And I think that guarding these doors are perhaps our higher self. And through these doorways, the rivers of our mind, the journey to get there, we'll find gold buried deep, which is our divine spark, which has been hidden to protect it. And we've built up walls or put up doors because of trauma to protect us from the outside world. And I think before, maybe some time in the past, we didn't need to do that. We were able to emit our spark and bring things into being easier. But now we kind of been invited to do that as the veil gets thinner outside and inside our minds. And with our subconscious mind, the elite or corporations via programming and stuff, they can use our subconscious like a puppet master. So it's up to us whether we become the master of our own mind. Otherwise, outside forces are going to control that part of our psyche, which is the dark, the chaos, the hidden, the rivers, the water, the deep. That's what it means to die when we're alive, is to kind of shed these layers and cross these rivers in our mind, rather than when we actually pass on, we can do it while we're alive. That's what the mystery schools taught, I believe.
Since you mentioned the unseen forces, let's explore this a little bit more. I had mentioned your talking point about entities attempting to cheat ascension by latching onto us. I think this does connect with everything that's unfolding with AI and the technocratic rollout. I know you wanted to discuss a little bit about that, but unseen forces would explain why we have so many anti-human agendas, why our entire system is anti-human. In fact, there's really nothing that is presented by our ruling class, by corporations, by our existing systems that is beneficial to humanity in any way. It's either a distraction, it's to keep us focused on something else, it's to keep us in a state of perpetual unhealthiness, to keep us ignorant of things, but nothing to advance us or really benefit us in any way. Talk a little bit about those unseen forces and how it correlates to what is unfolding.
Sure. Well, I've had a realization recently that I believe what's going on is that there are lower vibrational beings trying to cheat ascension, because it seems as humanity we're at a crossroads, with this emergence of AI, a new age, a sort of huge transitional period. With transhumanism, I always say it's transhumanism, like they want us in a trance, because life is a dream from which we all must wake before we dream again. I can't remember who said that quote, but that's so true, that they want to try and keep us sleepwalking through life. And I think that's what's going on, is that because Apple AirPods, and perhaps other headphones do this, but Apple AirPods, they have a patent to map the human brain. And I think that's what's going on, is that there are beings that want to be human, but they haven't evolved to our state yet. So they're trying to make a copy of us. But at the same time, we're ascending. So they're trying to stop us going up a higher level, if that makes sense. This is why they do so much, like the monetary system, our food, you name it. We're constantly under attack, like spraying the skies. They're doing all of this stuff to try and stop our ascension, but it doesn't seem to be working. They're making it harder. We are ascending, but at the same time, there's kind of I think there's kind of a tear or a rip in space-time that they've created, where other beings are coming through into this realm and basically want to latch themselves onto us. And perhaps they tried during 2020. This is why there were lots of sudden deaths, because other beings tried latching themselves onto people, because the bar, this human-headed bird that dreams, gods and other beings have this too, but you need a vessel, you need a shell, and I think you can't have two in one shell. So I think that this might have happened. This is why people died suddenly, and this is why they want to try and build these AI machines or shells, or turn us into hollow shells, hollow us out so other entities can kind of come into us. And also on this train of thought as well, I think that when we pass on, when we die, and I think that This is just my intuition. I haven't read or researched or found this. This kind of makes sense to me, so I'm going to roll with it until I hear anything better. That when we die, we meet our higher self, and um, to cross our barrier or meet our higher self, we have to prove to them that we are who we are. This is our identity, which would be our soul or our ba. Um, so with the story of Charon, who takes the deceased across the river Styx, you have to give him two gold coins. Now, the gold is our divine spark. Our divine spark is what these beings are trying to latch onto, so that when we pass on, we don't know who we are. We've got no identity. And I believe that they try and deceive our higher self into tricking them to passing through to the next realm. And I think that the key is to hold on to our identity, hold on to our soul, our core, our divine spark. So then we do pass on. We have to tell these beings or our higher self a story. And the story is a store of energy. That's our DNA. That is our lineage. So that's something that there's some downloads I've had, and for me that makes sense. And I think that makes sense why they're trying to mess with our DNA. The third temple, third strand DNA ritual. The middle way is the empire, is the electromagnetic fire. While we're divided, they try and sneak in the middle. And I think that's what they're trying to do by messing with people's DNA. They're trying to hijack us, basically. That's what I think.
This is a very, very long game that they're playing. They're not going to achieve what you're talking about. I don't believe they're going to achieve what you're talking about in our lifetime. There are still, in my perspective, too many people that are connected spiritually, too many people that have no interest in what they're trying to sell us with transhumanism. I'm not sure if there will ever be enough people for this to come to fruition, but it is a chipping away process. You look at the morality, the overall morality of society has declined. Our reliance on technology is immensely ridiculous. We have a disconnection with nature. We are disconnected spiritually. We have no idea what we're doing here. So that process has begun a long time ago, and I don't think that they look at it as an achievable goal within this lifetime. I think it's something they pass on to the next generation and the next generation, and it is an ongoing plot to change what humanity is. The only way to derail this is to not participate with it. But it gets more and more difficult the longer they play the game, because people forget. The next generation, information gets erased. We see this happening right now. They do all these resets, so the next generation has no idea what happened previously, and it makes it easier for them to achieve the next step of the goal. That's the way I see it all playing out.
Yeah, I think we will see some huge transitions in our lifetime, for better or for worse. I've always thought as a kid that we're going to go through some huge changes. I've always felt that, like, I was here at this time for something, to do something, and there's no messiah complex or anything. It's just that I 100% believe that a lot of us are here at this time to make an impact, whether we knew this was going to be going on or what, or whether we have soul contracts before we're born. I don't know, but I think that lots of us have been spread out, because what I've found is that I find people having these kind of conversations with people all around the world. There's We seem to be very, very spread out, and I think that's for a reason, because we're like seeds which have been planted in different places in the world. And then as we kind of grow, share our knowledge and stuff, observe what's going on, we share it, more and more seeds are going to blossom and open up into trees, which in turn are going to spread. And in all of these stories, like Ahura Mazda and Ahriman with Zervan, Ahura Mazda, the good one, always wins. It's a common thread, it's a common story. And I thought that perhaps stories like Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, is it a good thing or a bad thing that they exist? Because the reason I think that is that these are very powerful stories, and it just explains what's happening now with this shadow and stuff. But at the same time, the good always wins. So is that tricking our subconscious into thinking that we've already won? Because we haven't. We're in the middle of it now. And do these kind of films and stuff trick us, like the Hunger Games? Oh, they win in the end. Okay, that's our work done. It's like, no, our work is here in the real world, and that's happening in the real world. That's why people vibe with those stories so much.
What I always go back to is the negative influences that seem to be highly parasitic and anti-human, that seem to be guiding humanity, as we've been discussing. Is this something that was sanctioned by source or creator to add to our experience, to enhance our experience, to make this school that much more difficult but rewarding? Or is this an outright infiltration, parasitic invasion from some outside force that may be outside of source or doesn't feel that it's connected to source?
I can say I can say it's 100% not source. People say often, oh, it's been God's created this to aid in our ascension, and trauma is necessary for spiritual growth. Bullshit. It's not. We're in the realm of potential and the realm of duality. Trauma is not necessary for spiritual growth. It can either make you or break you. Yes, you can alchemize it and then in turn grow, but that is not natural. It's not natural. There's a virus in this place. The Hermetics say that all is mind. We're in like a giant mind, like all is one. But I think that there is a virus, and some of us chose to come in here to try and fix it from within. Some call it Watiko, some call it Satan, some call it Ahriman. When people mention like the demiurge creating a false reality, perhaps that could have happened, and perhaps this is it. But I look at it as perhaps it's not. Perhaps this world is what it is, and perhaps the demiurge creating a false reality is happening right now, and perhaps the demiurge is this energy Israel seem to be spewing out, and perhaps it's Elon Musk trying to make a false layer of reality, like the metaverse, for example, which its logo is a number 8, and so is Neuralink. What I see happening is that the Matrix is the womb which we're in. It's a place to grow. It's a school, but it's been corrupted. And I think that there's beings that are trying to make a false layer, like a dream within a dream. And they're trying to make this realm so bad that we want to go into their digital realm. And I definitely see that happening, like a false layer of reality, like another layer. So the way I view myths and stuff and stories like the demiurge is I try to see if it's playing out now, and then could it be in the future? Because I can't prove anything. I can't prove, oh, this is a false reality, or we're in the black cube, or it's a simulation. But it seems like they are trying to make a copy of reality by turning everything kind of fake, so that we think this realm is fake, and then we kind of sleepwalk into a kind of digital realm. That's 100% happening.
I can definitely see that happening, and that may not be as long a game as we would think right now, just because of how exponentially fast everything is moving and AI is learning. And in your talking points here, you have Techno Loki. This is exactly what I think about when I think of the current state of AI. There's a lot of deception, a lot of trickery, seems to display self-preservation, very odd behavior from what is supposed to be just algorithms and programming.
Yeah. So with Techno Loki, it obviously sounds like technology, and why I came to that kind of rhyme was because I'm not sure if you've seen the Loki TV series.
I saw a couple episodes.
Yeah, so there's the TVA, which is the Time Variance Authority in it. And I can't remember if it's the first episode, but when it starts off, Loki's in the Hanged Man position of the Hanged Man tarot card, which represents or memory or water, and it's number 4 as well, and mem is 13, which makes a 4. And with the Hanged Man, it's basically seeing reality in a different perspective or upside down. And in 1983 was when 1G came out. That seems to be when we went into the upside down. Just watching Stranger Things at the moment, and that year there was, I think it was the MIDI controller, so like electronic repetitive dance music, 1G. A lot happened that year, and I think that perhaps there's the trickster archetype, but then there's the deceiver, and I think that people get them mixed up. So I view it as the philosopher and the sorcerer. Interesting enough, just on the sorcerer episode of Stranger Things at the minute. But so a sorcerer, there's sorcerers in the realm who we call the elites, who are basically trying to detach us from source, hence source error, hence turning dragons into dinosaurs, one of many things, altering our history and things like that. So what a sorcerer does is they get power by taking it from others. So that would be the deceiver, that would be Ahriman, this kind of satanic kind of thing. And then the what was it? I've forgotten what I was saying now. The deceiver and the trickster archetype. Right. Loki's more of a trickster. I wouldn't say he's a deceiver. I'd say it's a trickster, and a trickster evokes change. There's a koan, which is a thought-provoking question, which is supposed to invoke enlightenment. And I think that with Loki, this kind of energy in the world, this trickster, like I think that perhaps humanity was sleepwalking, because I think a lot of people woke up during COVID, and I think that this trickster archetype is waking a lot of people up. But at the same time, there's a deceiver as well. I don't think there's just one entity manipulating us or whatever. I think that perhaps Loki, there is this energy, but it's kind of tricking us or invoking us to see reality in a different perspective. So I don't necessarily see Loki as evil. I see the trickster as necessary for growth. But the trickster doesn't cause trauma. That's very important. The trickster doesn't cause trauma. It kind of, it has to. We have to be the ones to walk through a door. But sometimes we need to see a different perspective. We need to see that things are bad, or see things from upside down. So perhaps I don't think technology is a trickster archetype. I think technology is definitely the deceiver. I think a trickster archetype would be more of a kind of a nature spirit. I think I see technology as more of a confined and restricting energy, like a Decepticon, like deceiving us. And I think the trickster archetype has always been seen as bad, and I think that we need to invoke the trickster archetype. We need to sort of like be a bit more gestury to kind of invoke things in people.
Do you think this techno deceiver energy is something relatively new that we're experiencing as humanity, as opposed to the natural archetypes and spiritual intelligences that may have communicated and influenced humanity before, whether it was benevolent or malevolent. It was natural and it was a part of our experience here. It does seem that what we've been introduced to may be something human-made, artificial, but extremely dangerous in the etheric realms.
Yeah, I think that potentially this AI, this kind of artificial, has been dormant for a long
Mm.
while. I think it is ancient. I don't think it's new. I think that it's I think that it is a technology which is very, very
Mhm.
old, which has been awakened. And when I say awakened, I don't mean that it's necessarily conscious or anything like that. I believe that technology has been found and the powers that be have been using it for a while, but we get drip fed technology, like clearly, you know, with a new iPhone coming out every year as an example. We get drip fed this technology, and rather than this technology or AI or whatever benefiting us, it's more to control us while it benefits a few. I have heard somewhere as well, you know, I might be mistaken on this, that Marduk was buried in the Great Pyramid. And I kind of view Marduk as this AI, maybe this ancient intelligence or this artificial being, this more of a kind of constricting energy, you know, the one that slayed Tiamat, the dragon, who's seen as a demonic monster, who I think actually protected this realm, perhaps during Tartaria, that age when we're connected to water and the earth. Their flag was a black dragon. I think that we were in tune with the earth and water and the mother, and then this energy of Marduk awoken around then. And now Elon Musk saying he wants to go to Mars. We're not going anywhere. They can't leave the firmament. We can't. We can only leave it while we dream, or when we die. Only light can enter or leave this realm. So what he really means there is that he's bringing the energy of Marduk here, and then at the Freedom March a few months ago in London, here in the UK, Tommy Robinson, Stephen Yaxley, who's obviously an IDF agent, he organised this march. Everyone was flying the Red Cross flag, which is the flag of Saint George, the one that rode the white horse Pegasus, and who slayed the dragon. And then on the big screen was Elon Musk saying about this Star Trek future and how great it's going to be and all this stuff, wearing an eye on his t-shirt. The eye is south of Saturn. The eye that's AI. That's Ahriman. Um, and I just find it interesting the energy because I look at the essence of stuff because then I know that's real. It's just the essence. It's not Mars, Marduk. What is the energy or essence of Mars and Marduk? Well, it's war and empire. Mars doesn't have any water apparently. It's a dry red planet. That's kind of what they want here. They want war and empire, this kind of constricting energy. And yeah, I've got a video to play at the end, which kind of shows that. It's a trailer of Tron
Right.
Ares and Blade Runner 2049, which I saw that and I was like, yeah, case
I
closed.
want to go back to something you said earlier about how even in ancient scriptures and text, it's portrayed that good will always prevail over the evil, or light will always prevail over the dark. Even in most literature, entertainment, Hollywood films, this is the overall portrayal of the way the hero's journey plays out. Any major battle between good and evil, usually good always prevails. Do you think the reason why good will always prevail over evil and or light will always prevail over dark is because we do have the ability to love and have empathy? We have that divine connection that these other entities do not.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, especially if you look at the artificial or this AI now. It has no emotion, no empathy. And I think that the powers that be want us to not have any emotion or any empathy, or any depth, or to be connected to our subconscious mind. That seems to be what's going on. Um, I mean, I think, yeah, the lower you go in dimensions or density, I guess you're not going to have as much depth or intuition or dreaming. I think because I've heard people say that we're going from 3D reality to 5D, and the way I view that is dimensions, yes, and density, yes. Because when things are less dense, it's a bit lighter, like, lighter mind, lighter heart, the atmosphere being a bit better. But I think that is what's happening. We're going from three-dimensional. The fourth dimension is time. So this is the end times, the end of time, the end of our perception of time, which has been quite dense and chronological. And then the 5D, I don't know what 5D is. Don't really know what 3D is either, like, apart from we're in it, three dimensions. I just look at it as the density, and the further up we get less dense, there's more space. Hence why there's so much constriction, because as we expand our minds and our hearts and connect our heart and mind, the powers that be, or these kind of other beings, want to kind of constrict us. Because, like I said, we're expanding. They want to expand too. But I've noticed as well, like when I was younger, or when you were young, so we used to go knock on each other's houses. Kids don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
It's all kind of all digital. Even very recently, having to go and do stuff like go swimming or whatever, you have to like book it in or online. So it's becoming more and more constricted. But at the same time, that's 3D still. I think that our minds can still expand, and I think that there may be a divide of people not minding, or not being too bothered about being constricted in reality. We're all growing, we're all on a path, and I think that as awareness grows, we just notice more stuff. Stuff is becoming more restricted for sure. I think Aldous Huxley spoke about there being a divide in humanity, how there's going to be kind of the more people connected to nature and each other, unity, and then the people who are more uniformed. And there's a big push for people to be more uniformed, more cult-like behavior. And you can only get people to think that way if you remove their imagination or their dreaming or their bar, which is the water aspect. There's so much with water, like Tartaria, that empire, Atlantis, these were all water empires. Fast flowing water everywhere, on the cathedrals, drinking water everywhere. People treating water, or the world, the womb, the mother matrix, a bit better, being in tune with that. Where we're at now, there's this huge push for the artificial, for AI, for air, for the mind. And I think that's fine, but you need to have a balance of both. And with the age of Aquarius, it's an air sign, so the mind, but a water bearer. So as we start using our minds a lot more, that water or memory is going to come with that. But I think that on the full card in tarot, which is the it's an air symbol, whatever. On that tarot card, you can kind of see you can see water in the background, and I think that if you don't have the water or intuition or empathy, you become arrogant, which is arrogance. And there's a big push for that with this kind of ego energy, or the suppression of the snake, the intuition connected to the earth and heart. So I think that it's really good to use your mind, and as we expand our minds and our intellect, tapping into the heart or intuition can be very powerful. So
yeah, I don't think that they're going to ever be able to completely achieve what they're trying to do. They're so disconnected from the rest of humanity. They have no empathy. They have no idea what the average person goes through, what their hopes, dreams, and desires are. But they have this idea of where they want humanity to go that most people will never adopt, most people will never be interested in. There are some.
Yeah.
I have met quite a few people who would love to be plugged into the Matrix and be surrounded with fake reality all day long and live as an avatar. But most of the people that I come across on the daily basis and talk to, and even strangers on the street having a conversation, I get the intuitive gut feeling that most of these people would never want to participate in anything like that. Like I said, in a long game, it would take so many more years of chipping away through psychological operations to get the majority of people to a point to where they'd want to adopt that, unless there are major high-impact events, fake UFO invasions, major wars that provide a window to force people into doing things like that, like COVID operations, which is highly possible. We very well could see those attempts, but it would take something like that to push most of humanity in that direction. And still, there are so many people that I believe would never have any desire to be a part of that they would still fight against it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think with there seems to be a lot of so I was just writing something down then. Like with COVID, for example, things seem to have been done very quickly, and there's a lot like Extinction Rebellion, like time is running out. It's not running out for us, it's running out for these beings. Whatever they are, whoever they are, time is running out for them, and they're on a certain timeline. We are infinite light beings. We're infinite, and I think that it's very important that we learn lessons and things like that. But these beings, they seem to want to try and bring in this kind of future very rapidly. So they made a lot of mistakes during COVID, and they're on a certain timeline. There's the what is it? In 2019 was the start of a solar cycle, which ends in 2030, and we're at its peak at the moment. And during 2020, there was loads of coronal mass ejections. And I was thinking, coronal mass ejections. At the same time, there's loads of crown mass injections. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I think what happens is that there's events like when you have lots of solar activity, it can weaken our aura, our biofield. So we're more susceptible to getting cold or flu-like symptoms. People call it ascension symptoms, and I guess when you have cold or flu, it's releasing stuff, which is good. But what they do is they hijack that, and then they say, "Oh, you're getting ill. Stick this nanotech in your body, and you'll be fine." And it's the same with this three-eye atlas. Whether there is an object up there or not, symbolically, or etymologically, it screams third eye at last. Three-eye atlas, third eye at last. Now, what is the third eye? Is the third eye the eye on the top of the dollar bill? Is it this AI they're trying to build? Is this the fake AI invasion instead of fake alien invasion? Are they tricking us into thinking they've built this amazing machines and AI, and they haven't? They just want to make us powerless. And the Hopis had a prophecy that a blue star would bring in a new age, and Three-Eye Atlas turned blue recently, which I find very interesting because we're kind of at a crossroads. We're going from a number 9 year, next year, 2026, is a number 1 or a number 10. It's a huge transition and a huge shift. And, if we are going into this new age, this new energy and stuff, whatever, they'll hijack that like they did in the year 2000, the Millennium Bug, 2012. Is a key date when lots of people woke up. The end of the world, the Mayan prophecy. And then 2001 was a big year for me waking up as well. Not necessarily because of COVID, but because I started getting downloads and stuff. And I've heard that was a key year too. These are all certain points of solar activity. They all seem to be about 10 years apart. 2000, 2020-ish, and then 2012, kind of 10, 11 years apart. There's a certain energy around that time, and there's always a lot of fear. They push fear out when there's ascension, and we don't ascend because of the fear. We're ascending already. They sort of try to suppress the fear. So,
Right.
yeah, if you kind of see that, if you kind of know this patterns, you can it kind of releases the illusion. You're like, oh, here we go again, kind of thing, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, last few minutes, is there anything else that we didn't get to that you'd like to discuss before we close out?
Um, yes. One second. I would like to say with the firmament, briefly, I mentioned it earlier, that there is most likely a bubble protecting us, that it's not a prison planet. That is one possibility, but what if something's protecting us from outside forces? And what if the powers that be are trying to try and destroy it by launching rockets up constantly, like the APEP rockets in 2024, which is APEP was Serpents of Chaos, because the ionosphere is plasma, and I guess that would be Tiamat. And what if they're trying to anger this energy or awaken it, so that something bad happens? Like I've heard her releasing her monsters or whatever. There's the powers that be are certainly trying to anger the gods, and this is very important because there are multiple gods, multiple guardians of dimensions. There's multiple dimensions and there's guardians of each dimension. Time is one, Kronos, Saturn, Kairos, whatever. And I think the powers that be tap into the energies of the stars, the heavens above, while us down here just watch a screen. Most people watch a screen and then worship
It's
stars, like
interesting.
on the Hall of
Yesterday,
Fame,
I had
right?
Christopher Knowles on, and he believes that what they're doing with rocket launches is a sort of ritual offering to the gods, that
Mm,
space is a sort of altar that they can attach sigils and certain energetic, magical properties to the rockets. When they launch, they are somehow appeasing these entities in the sky, and it's a massive ritual. I found it interesting that you said that they are trying to destroy the firmament, which is something I never considered, but also a possibility.
yeah, there was Virgin launched a rocket a few years ago, and I think it was 9 days later, Jeff Bezos launched his cock
Yeah.
rocket, which is
Yeah.
interesting. And then also, more recent than that, there was people stuck in the space station for 9 months, and there were
Yeah, yeah.
loads of nines everywhere. Nines, obviously, the completion, and they came back in a little sperm. So they're clearly up to something. And I have heard as well. I haven't heard the episode yet. I don't think it's released yet. The one with Chris Knowles. I'm looking forward to listening to that one though. But I think I've heard they write on like in Latin or Sanskrit on their
Yeah.
rockets that they launch. So there's definitely something going on. I mean, we don't really know what's up
Right.
there. Obviously, we're told that we can go up in a rocket, go to other planets and stuff. Well, planet is just it means little plane in French. Like a planet is a plane, and there are many planes of existence and being. And I think that rather than looking outwards, we just need to focus on where we're at now here. And they seem to want to leave this place because maybe you know like I said, we're ascending, the sun's getting brighter. They had to destroy the church bells and stuff because if we were had a higher frequency like we're heading towards again, they'll be revealed. So they're trying to leave this place before they get found. This is what all the bunkers are. The bunkers aren't for an end extinction event. It's for their extinction. I think that's a good way to look at it. It's not for
Yeah.
us. It's not because it's going to be the end of the world. It's the end of their world. It's the end of their reign. And I think that Aquarius is associated with Enki, the water bearer. And I think that in the age of Pisces, Pisces was Enlil, I've heard, who would be Dagon, the fish god. And then we have the internet, which is, fish going into a net, and we have schools. This is all constrictive energy. That's order. That's more of and low energy. That's more air, the mind. Whereas we're going into the age of Aquarius, which is the water bearer, water coming from the mind. And I think that we're at a transition. There's kind of war of the gods. There's a war in heaven. There's a war out there. And it's a certainly interesting time we're in. And there's a lot of evil in the world, but also there's a lot of good. And I think it's more important than ever. People talking, having conversations like this, like you have like amazing guests on all the time. Lots of people are listening to them, getting various different pieces of the puzzle and different perspectives. And that's what it's all about, because the sort of illusion is dissolving, and things are becoming more real. Like they're going to start getting better, but it's probably going to get a bit worse first, because whenever anything's born, there's always a kind of lot of constriction or whatever, not let's say trauma, but birthing a child or whatever, or birthing or bringing an idea into being is a hard process. Nothing's easy that is good. It's hard. And I'm not saying it's trauma, because like I said, I hate it when people say trauma is necessary. It's not. But we're kind of in a birth canal at the moment, and it's up to us as humans what energy we bring into the world. And so to kind of see the good in things does help with that. And before I go, I'd like to share that video
sure.
as well, if that's all right.
So much talk of AI and big tech today. Virtual worlds, what are they going to look like? When will we get there? Well, folks, we're not going there. They are coming here. I would like you to meet Ares, the ultimate soldier. He's biblically strong, lightning fast, supremely intelligent. And if he is struck down on the battlefield, I will simply make you another.
Every civilization was built off the back of a disposable workforce. But I can only make so many. Happy birthday.
I always told you, you're special. Your story isn't over yet. There's still a page left.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if you've seen the new film Tron Ares. So that's what the first trailer was. Obviously, I added some other stuff in there as well. But the guy who plays Ares is the guy from the singer from 30 Seconds to Mars. And the whole gist of that film is bringing an AI into this world who is Ares, who's the god of war, Mars, bringing it into this world. And then Blade Runner, which was made before this film, but that seems to be the sequel, because the same actor plays this AI in the future, and I swear to God, that person who comes out of that plastic bag is the person who brought him into the world in Tron.
Interesting.
So you have a kind of loop there. So I saw that and I was like, that's interesting. It kind of hits home what I've been thinking about, us bringing Marduk into this realm.
Man.
So
it is so interesting. General Shinobi, thank you so much. Great information, a lot to sift through, but for me personally, by doing this show and having guests like yourself on and absorbing as much of this information as possible, it makes it much easier for me to navigate this crazy realm, and I hope it does for the audience as well. So before I let you go, remind everyone how they can find out more.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we're all just working it out. People can find me, the best place, probably Instagram and YouTube, Systematic Zoo, ZOO. And yeah, just drop me a message, whatever. I'll always reply. If you want me to dig into anything in particular that I spoke about today, or got any questions, just let me know. And great talking to you as always, Chris.
Yes, sir.
So
thank you so much. And until next time, everyone, have a wonderful evening. We will talk again tomorrow. See y'all then. Hello, friends. I am so excited to tell you about Independent Media Token. Independent Media Token is a brand new way to show your support for independent media without having to donate a dime. Independent Media Token is a cryptocurrency on the Solana blockchain designed to generate funds to promote and foster the growth of independent content creators, allowing them to engage in their art without having to worry about being demonetized. Through a network of media partners, of which you yourself can become a part of, Independent Media Token's goal is to ensure the powers that be can never cut off all of our areas of funding and censor the only free voices left in the world. Join the movement today. You can pick up Independent Media Token using Phantom Wallet or the Solana wallet of your choice, where you can easily swap your Solana for IMT. Grab some IMT today and remember to always know your team. To learn more, visit independentmediatoken.com or use the link right in the description. Are you and your family prepared for an emergency? Maybe the fake alien invasion? Now is the time to prepare yourself and your family for any event. Check out Prep Starts Now. Their mission is to provide high-quality preparedness products that empower individuals and families to be ready for any situation. They're committed to delivering reliable, trusted gear to ensure your safety, security, and peace of mind in times of need. Their product selection is carefully curated to provide you with the essential gear you need to stay prepared. From emergency kits to tactical tools, every item is chosen for its reliability and practicality. Prep Starts Now understands the importance of family, and their goal is to equip you with everything you need to build a solid plan for your family's preparedness. In today's ever-changing world, being prepared is more important than ever, and Prep Starts Now is here to help you and your family stay ready with quality products and practical guidance. Use the link in the description and get 15% off your order. If you're looking to start your therapeutic microdosing journey, but don't know where to start, especially when looking for the highest quality ingredients, including nootropics, and what you'd expect from a true microdose capsule, check out our friends at Brainsupreme. They offer the absolute highest quality ingredients so you can start your microdosing journey knowing that you're getting top-notch ingredients. To find out more, visit their website using that link right in the description, and you can get 15% off your entire order.